truth about empath empowerment. Will it shock you? Hi, everybody. It's Darren again. I have a story to tell you about my empath journey and how it can save you time and money. Maybe by listening to what follows here, you can also cut down on some of the overwhelm and craziness that a person faces today if you're trying to find an empath teacher you can trust. Of course, you'll decide for yourself. I'll just tell you my story. I believe that empaths are smarter than most people, not only more sensitive. On the other hand, being an empath doesn't mean that you have unlimited time and money and patience, which is why I like to help you avoid learning that way. There are so many empath teachers, more than 5,000 of them and counting. And wouldn't it be really great if you could easily find one who's a good choice for you? You see, I'm assuming that, like me, you don't have all the time in the world and you've already had it with overwhelm. Long story short, when looking for an empath expert, at first I did feel overwhelmed. But then I figured out a key question to ask. What is an empath? Right away, that was educational. Here's what I found. A ton of so-called empath experts define an empath as somebody who suffers. For instance, one of these empath experts, not people, tried to interest me in studying with him by telling us empaths, your wounding is your greatest gifts. I thought to myself, can't you do better than that? Suffering is something I can do on my own without the help from this guy. I want help for a better life, not some pity party. Next, I discovered a different bunch of empath experts who define an empath as being a psychic. Like, they'll say empaths are people who are always feeling energies or want to become an intuitive when they grow up. Some of these empath experts really go off the deep end, in my opinion, because of all their blame talk about vampires or narcissists and all the bad energy these fictional villains send into poor victim-y empaths. That's an automatic disqualification for me. Fear-mongering isn't my dream of a better life. Besides, if I wanted to become a psychic, which I don't, I'll search for psychic, not empath. These so-called experts are doing bait and switch. Another kind of answer comes from empath experts who define an empath as somebody with a kind of terrible psychological problem, making them so damaged and helpless. Of course, certain empath experts would come up with that kind of idea because these folks are actually psychologists or life coaches, or otherwise, they credential themselves by watching talk shows. Only what's up with the idea that empaths require something like therapy? I don't want that. I don't need that. Come on, I'm an empath. It's like this. If I were looking for an expert at fixing my car, would I also need an expert to tell me, before I can work on your engine, you've got to tell me about your feelings? I thought to myself, why can't a therapist advertise as a therapist, not as an empath expert? Can't I simply find somebody who's an expert at helping empaths? Then I found one, Rosetree. Yeah, that's a funny name, but I won't hold that against her. Rosetree defines empaths in this way. An empath is somebody with a lifelong gift for directly experiencing what it's like to be another person. All right, let's just say that again. An empath is somebody with a lifelong gift for directly experiencing what it's like to be another person. Now I can live with that, especially since she also describes in detail 15 different gifts that empaths can have. And you know what? They're not all about having feelings. Only 2 of them are about emotions. So there. I happen to like that approach because I'm an empath for sure, and I've got several empath gifts, but none of them is emotional. By the way, if you like to find out which empath gifts you have, you'll find a great resource for free at the end of this video. Back to my empath journey. It turns out that Rosetree is America's most experienced empath coach. Get this, she founded the field. For instance, she's the one who trademarked Empath Empowerment. And she also started publishing the first books for empaths anywhere back in 2001. In a bit, I'll tell you how to get started if you're interested in studying with her. Before then, I've got a good question that you can use as a consumer. Why doesn't Rosetree sound like any other empath experts? Part of the answer is that she got there first. More specifically, think about this. Ever since Freud, there have been therapists. Over 100 years of therapists. But did a single psychologist figure out what empaths are or how to help us? Nope. Not until after Empath Empowerment made its debut. How about psychics? For at least 10,000 years, there have been psychics and energy healers. But did a single psychic or healer figure out what empaths are or how to help us? Nope. Not until after Rosetree discovered Empath Empowerment. So is it so surprising that her work has been imitated by so many but never equaled? And speaking of imitated, check out the 100 plus books at Amazon that supposedly offer empath empowerment. If these copycats can't even find their own name for what they teach, why would you trust them to have developed anything counting as new to give you? Bottom line, how can the real deal Empath Empowerment help you? If you can learn from books, do what I did. Get one book in Rose's series of Empath Empowerment books. It's called Empath Empowerment in 30 Days. How it works, it's nice and simple. You read one short chapter a day and do a little homework. Really, just a little, never more than 10 minutes, often less. By the end of the month, you're living with Empath Empowerment. Hey, it worked for me. And of course, you can learn more if you want to, which is why Rosetree has published 3 more books for empaths. Browse them all here at www.whatisanempath.com. And the link I just gave you takes you to a post at Rose's blog where you can follow up on. And also, what I told you, she makes available for free responsible descriptions of empath gifts. And also available, personal sessions of empath coaching with Rose, and some fabulous online workshops, including her free Intro to Empath Empowerment coaching. To sum it up, only you can decide how you want to grow as an empath. I recommend Rosetree's work because it's honest and uniquely effective. I also happen to think the system is absolutely brilliant. Please do me a favor. If you like this presentation, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Thank you for listening.